Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari on the 9th of July 2019 approved a special promotion for 3 officers in recognition of their hard work and efforts in the fight against insurgency. In this special report, Defense correspondent Ismail Musa identifies and highlights their individual contributions in the operations.
The success of any given military operation, among other things, depends on the commitment and roles of officers and soldiers deployed. Officers like Lieutenant General Lamidi Adeosun is one whose sacrifice and exploit were crucial at a time the northeast Nigeria was under the heat of the insurgency.
Your responsibility is not only to sit down in your camp, but to go out, patrol on vehicles, patrol on foot.
Then, as the General Officer commanding 7th Division Maiduguri, troops he led were credited to have played vital role in counter-insurgency operations, recording victories, recovering and liberating people held hostage and areas captured by Boko Haram. This led to his appointment as the first commander, Multinational Joint Task Force in Chad, where he aggressively denied terrorists access and ability to hibernate within border towns of the affected countries. Major General Abdul Malik Bulamabiu is another officer who established a rapid deployment force that always made proactive response to threats in parts of Borno State. Several young officers and soldiers' sacrifice and wisdom have contributed to the grading of the Boko Haram terrorist group. Some of them still serving while others have paid the supreme price. Among those still serving is Captain Abubakar Jibrin, whose gallantry and subsequent recognition accord hope and encouragement to other serving young officers.
You will also agree with me that we would not be celebrating these elevations if the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is not who he is, in his objectivity and in total support of the efforts of the service chiefs. I must also commend the Chief of Army Staff for his leadership and his readiness to accommodate an officer of equal rank.
The announcement of a special presidential recognition and promotion for these officers, following recommendations from the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tupu Buratai, did not come to many as surprise, as security has been among the major priorities of the Buhari administration. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates veteran journalist and former governor of Ogun State, Chief Segun Osoba, as he clocks 80 years on July 15, 2019, heralded with the launch of his memoir, Battle Lines: Adventures in Journalism and Politics. A statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, says President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the family, friends, professional colleagues, and political associates of the elder statesman and loyal party stalwart, who successfully translated words into action by participating in politics and governance, and leaving a legacy of serving as a governor of his state in 2 republics. He commended Chief Osoba's unwavering commitment to building strong institutions that will encourage participatory democracy and development in the country, recalling that their many conversations, including the visit to the State House last week, always centered on Nigeria and her people, with wise and insightful counsels on engendering a better country. As Chief Osoba turns octogenarian, President Buhari believes his lofty contributions, with some already brilliantly captured in the memoir, will always be remembered, affirming that the real impact of his wealth of experience, selfless spirit, and many sacrifices in leadership will transcend pages and continue to resonate in the many lives he has touched. President Buhari praised God to grant the former governor longer life, good health, and strength to continue serving the country. Now, Vice President Professor Yemi Oshimojo has joined others to condole the leader of the Yoruba socio-cultural group Afenifere, Pa Reuben Fasoranti, over the death of his daughter, Mrs. Funke Olakunrin. Tony Batire also reports that the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is also in Akure to sympathize with the nonagenian.
Professor Oshibajo, who lamented the gruesome killing of Mrs. Olakunrin, said the incident is a tragedy and a loss to the state and the nation at large. While condoling with Pa Fashoranti, the vice president restated government's determination to engage the military more in securing the highways and that plans are underway to ensure that community policing is firmly entrenched.
We're looking at the whole security architecture and trying to ensure that this country, we're able to upscale the architecture and ensure that we're able to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. Security in a big country such as ours is obviously, as you can imagine, a challenge. It's dynamic, and so we have to be consistently dynamic in ensuring that we're able to meet the challenges as they appear. But I think that we can be very, very hopeful that we will see calm, as some of the steps we're taking come into fruition. As you know, governors in the southwest and governors in the different zones, and everybody's coming together to look at what to do to ensure that security is adequate and that everyone is, feels safe, that people feel secure.
In the same vein, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu came in company of the former interim national chairman of the APC, Chief Bisi Akonde, described the development as pathetic, urging the federal government to tackle insecurity headlong.
We must not use this incident to divide ourselves. We must use it as a cure to the security problem. Additional police, additional patrol, and additional security reinforcement along our road and in various black spots. It is necessary.
Mrs. Funke Olakunrin was murdered by suspected gunmen along Kajola or Rebini Road in Akure. Toyin Batire, NTA News.
Similarly, the Senate condoles with the family of Afenifere leader Pa Reuben Fashoranti over Friday's murder of his daughter, Mrs. Funke Olakunrin, along Akure Ore Road in Ondo State. A statement by the chairman, Senate Ad Hoc Committee, Media Publicity, Adedayo Adeyeye, describes the gruesome killing of Mrs. Olakunrin as sad, devastating, and a worrisome development. It states that the National Assembly is disturbed by the spate of incessant attacks on and wanton killings of citizens. The Senate emphasized that security to life is fundamental right of every citizen, and Nigerians deserve this inalienable right from the government. While condemning the heinous and barbaric act, the Senate urges the Inspector General of Police to begin massive manhunts for the killers and ensure that the perpetrators are apprehended. The Senate extends its condolence to the elder statesmen, Pa Reuben Fashoranti, and the entire family, and to the fortitude to bear the loss. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, is in Egypt ahead of Nigeria's Super Eagles encounter with Algeria. A statement by the Special Assistant to the Senate President on Media and Publicity, Mohammed Issa, says Senator Lawan is at the head of the presidential delegation to cheer Super Eagles in their match against Algeria this evening in the ongoing 2019 African Cup of Nations in Egypt. It notes that the presence of the delegation would boost the morale of the Nigerian team and spur them to victory. Also on the 11-man delegation are the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. Governors Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta and Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos States. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. President of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, Habu Gumel, and a representative of the presidency, Captain Hosa Okumbo, are also on the delegation. Others were Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Olushade Adeshola and Mohammed Gambo. The Ministries of Director, Facilities, and former Minister of Youth and Sports, Solomon Dalong. The leadership of the House of Representatives has again expressed optimism over the ability of President Muhammadu Buhari to address challenges confronting the country and push a legislative agenda that will smooth rough edges between the National Assembly and the presidency. House Leader Alhassan Adodogwa said this is necessary for good governance and mutual respect for separation of powers between the two arms. Abdullahi Mustafa reports that he was speaking shortly after he led APC supporters from Kano South Senatorial District on a thank you visit to Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje.
The House Leader led a high-powered delegation from Kano South Senatorial Zone to thank Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje for executing development programs and projects in the area. He assured that principal officers in the National Assembly will give all the necessary support to the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in view of his patriotic zeal to take Nigeria to the next level of progress.
Nigerians will get quality education. Nigerians will get infrastructural facilities that will enhance our economic development. Nigerians should have confidence in the National Assembly, and they should have also confidence in the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by Mr. President.
Alhassan Adodogwa appreciated Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje for the moral support given to APC stakeholders in Kano State. He reassured that elders and supporters of the All Progressives Congress from the newly will continue to support the administration of Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje expressed optimism that he will not fail Nigerians.
Mr. President, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari will conduct the affairs of this country without hindrance.
In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
On to infrastructural matters now. The federal government is determined to complete the second Niger Bridge before the completion date of 2022. Federal Comptroller Works Anambra State Adeyemo Ajani said this during the visit of a team of engineers from Abuja to the site. Joy Iloibu has details.
A major signature project of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the second Niger Bridge is a strategic national infrastructure which commenced in 2014 that the federal government is determined to bring to completion in the southeast region. With early works phase 1 to 4, which are integral parts of the main works completed, work on the bridge is now at 23.81%.
We have done all the piling across the river from axis 100 to the end. We have equally raised the structure above the water level to a large extent, only remaining 2 pile caps to be done in the river. In fact, from the progress so far now, I think we are comfortable. We are even ahead a bit.
At both the Onitsha, Anambra State and Asaba, Delta State ends of the bridge, work is still in progress despite the increase in the water level. For experts, the 1.9-kilometer project is a milestone achieved due to federal government's commitment in infrastructural development.
All the concerns we have from my colleagues, they are all positives. We are satisfied because all the places that need to be sources of worry, the contractor, the supervisory team and the consultants, tidied up the ends.
The bridge is expected to be completed in February 2022. From Onitsha, Joy Iluebu, NTA News.
You are watching the news on NTA International. We'll take a short break now. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Special Presidential Investigation Panel for the Recovery of Public Property has sealed suspicious assets and property belonging to a sitting senator located in Warri in Delta and Lagos states. The presidential panel carried out the action following last week's ruling by a federal high court sitting in Abuja, which ordered interim forfeiture of property belonging to the senator. Ruling in a suit filed by the Special Presidential Investigation Panel for the Recovery of Public Property on behalf of the federal government, the court also placed a post-no-debit order on 22 bank accounts linked to the senator. The embattled lawmaker was recently referred to the Office of the Department of Public Prosecutions, Federal Ministry of Justice, by the Special Presidential Investigation Panel led by Okoye Obono Obla for allegedly making false assets declarations in his form CCB1 submitted to the Code of Conduct Bureau. In the ruling, 14 properties and 22 bank accounts linked to the senator are to be temporarily forfeited to the federal government. Aside sealing the properties, the panel has also written to the affected banks pursuant to the order of the interim forfeiture at the instance of the court. Zamfara State Police Command says there was no attack by bandits either on villages or on any person or group of persons traveling on any highway in the state. An official statement by the command's police public relations officer, Mohammed Shehu, says since the inception of ongoing peace and dialogue initiative in the state, attacks, kidnappings and other heinous crimes have been reduced to the barest minimum. The rescue of over 100 persons who were kidnapped and held in captivity for months by the command confirms that this action is an indication that the ongoing peace process of the command is succeeding. The statement says the news reports published by one of the national dailies on Saturday, the 13th of July 2019, alleging travelers heading to Abuja from Zamfara were attacked, is not true. The command says it is misleading and a calculated attempt to undermine the current efforts by the state government and the police to bring lasting peace for social and economic development in the state. It appeals to media organizations to abide by the ethics of practice by verifying information before publication. The Nigeria police says it will reinvigorate Operation Puff Adder and give it more bite to tackle cultism, robbery and kidnappings in Anambra State. Commissioner of Police John Bassi Abang disclosed this in Oka when he resumed as new commissioner of the Anambra State Police Command. Chukunonso Nwabueze reports.
Though not his first time in Anambra State Police Command, but the first as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer as he assumes duty as the state's new Commissioner of Police. Done with the parade inspection, Commissioner of Police John Bassi Abang engages senior officers of the command as well as the media on what his strategies are in tackling the challenge of one-chance robbery, kidnapping and cultism that seem common in Anambra State.
All our efforts and energies shall be mobilized and deployed towards the prevention of crimes and the successful apprehension of criminals that will test our resolve and win.
On the alleged extortion of the people of the state by some personnel of the command, CP Abang says measures will be in place to fish out and punish any corrupt personnel.
I urge all personnel of the command to issue corruption and discipline. The command will sustain the existing intelligence corruption and improve our respect for the rule of law and fundamental human rights in accordance with world best practices.
As CP John Bassi Abang takes over from his predecessor CP Mustafa Dandaura as the 28th Commissioner of Police in Anambra State, it is the expectations of the more than 5.6 million people living in the state that the new commissioner's proactive policing strategy will in the coming weeks and months reduce to its barest minimum any form of crime and criminality in the state. In Oka, Chukunonso Nwabueze, NTA News.
Let's take you now to the Middle East, where Nigerian Muslim pilgrims for the 2019 Hajj exercise have started arriving the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in their hundreds for the annual holy pilgrimage. Lami Ali has this report.
From the commencement of airlifts of the Muslim pilgrims on the 10th of July 2019, more than 5,000 Nigerians have so far arrived Medina, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, from Katsina, Lagos and Kano states for the religious exercise. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, alongside States Pilgrims Welfare Board, have scaled up efforts to ensure seamless operation involving feeding, accommodation and medical care for the pilgrims.
All arrangements, all what you see here is paid by the pilgrim. He has paid for it, and we, from the NACO side, we are only to ensure that he has gotten the value for that money.
350 members of staff, all cadres, that is doctors, nurses, and pharmacists. And we are normally preparing our staff to work pre-Arafat, post-Arafat, both in Mecca and Medina.
Some of the pilgrims, while speaking to NTA News in Medina, commend the welfare arrangements.
The food is very okay, and even it can sustain even 2 people.
Immediately I got there, I went to mosque in the morning, then this afternoon again I went there. So alhamdulillah.
The annual Muslim pilgrimage is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, ordained by Allah on believers to perform at least once in a lifetime for those who have the means. From Medina, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Let's now join Adebola Brookslyn Sunday for the World in 6 Days.
It's nice that you're joining us on this segment of the news where we bring to you some of the stories that made headlines from outside the country in the last 6 days. We told you that the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, said authorities in Libya released refugees and migrants from the detention center that was bombed in Tajora, where more than 50 people died in the attack that was blamed on an airstrike by forces loyal to a warlord, General Khalifa Haftar. But General Haftar's forces accused the government side of shelling the center. Most of the dead are believed to be sub-Saharan Africans who were attempting to reach Europe from Libya. The commission said it hopes that 260 of the group who were moved will eventually be found a place in an open center where they will be free to come and go. Remember, we told you that 6 men landed themselves into trouble after they were convicted of performing money ritual in Zimbabwe with 63 pairs of women panties in a graveyard. The culprits pleaded guilty to the charges and exposed 70-year-old Henderson Chiwondo as their leader, who fled from the courts, leaving his disciples to bear the brunt of the judgment before a traditional court gave its ruling. We also reported that the Commission of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the People's Republic of China signed an implementation agreement for the realization of the Commission's new headquarters building in Nigeria. Signing the agreement at a brief ceremony on behalf of the ECOWAS Commission, the president of the Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, said the implementation agreement clarifies, among other things, all that needed to be done through various phases to the commissioning of the edifice. He maintained that with commitment to the project work plan, the new building will come to fruition as planned, in aid of greater efficiency and service delivery to the regional community. The World Health Organization, WHO, added 2 cancer drugs to its 2019 essential medicine list, despite oncologists calling for less toxic therapies for the disease. The 2 recently developed immunotherapies, WHO said, have delivered up to 50% survival rates for advanced melanoma, a cancer that until recently was incurable. While several new cancer treatments have been marketed in recent years, only a few deliver sufficient therapeutic benefits to be considered essential. The UN agency said the 5 cancer therapies who added to the new 2 medicine lists are regarded as the best in terms of survival rates to treat melanoma, lungs, blood and prostate cancers. We also brought to you a report on the resignation of Britain's ambassador to Washington after days of criticism from Donald Trump, leading to accusation that Boris Johnson, the favorite to be the next British Prime Minister, memos from Kim Darroch in which he described the Trump administration as inept were leaked to a British Sunday newspaper, infuriating the US president, who launched a Twitter attack on both the envoy and outgoing British Prime Minister Theresa May, who had given Darroch her full support. I am Adebola Brookslyn Sunday. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for that, Adebola, and that concludes the news on NTA International at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis at Digungoy.
second.